Good morning, students. Today we will be learning about immunity. We have already started with this topic, and today I'll be teaching you a little bit it in a detail. So last time when we talked about immunity, it was just an introductory stuff which I gave you. So let me just give you a recap of it. Now, immunity, when we talk about what it is, if we talk about our day-to-day life, then this immunity is such a thing which helps us or which saves us from the infectious agent, right? Because in our day-to-day life there are many things which are responsible for causing disease, and we come across them a lot. But steadily we don't fell ill, or I would say that we have such a defense system in our body that can fight against these foreign agents. So this ability of the host to fight the disease causing agent, it is known as immune system, or you can say it as an immunity. I repeat, this ability, that is this overall ability of the host is us to fight against the disease causing organisms conferred by the immunity system is called immunity. Okay. Now last time also we learned that immunity are of two types, that is non-specific and specific, that is, let's say, innate and acquired. So we will talk in this video about detailed explanation of innate immunity, right? I hope you might listen this word by word, because there are specific terminologies which I'll be explaining, and which might not be there in this presentation, but just sit with a pen and paper so that you can note it down as well. Okay. Yeah. So innate immunity. Innate immunity is a non-specific type of defense, and this defense is present right from our birth time. And there are basically this defense has been accomplished when different types of barriers enter in our body as in a foreign agent. So, like for example, if bacteria is entering, virus is entering, there are different types of objects, right? So, our body develops a mechanism to fight against every different type of foreign object. And this is how immunity has been built more and more. Okay. Now, this innate immunity is normally of four types. In my presentation, you will see just two types, because the rest two are being covered under this head. Okay. So I'll just speak up first the four types, and then I'll explain you where these things are being covered under my heads. Now, first is the physical barrier. So when you talk about this surface barrier, here you can see on screen, it also consists of physical barrier and physiological barrier. But when you will refer your textbook, physical barrier and physiological barrier have different segments. Okay. And next, here in the presentation, it's cellular and biochemical barrier, which is talking about, again, next to type which has been given in your textbook, that is cellular barrier and cytokinin barrier. Okay. So let me talk about first of all surface barrier. This surface barrier are such kind of things where these foreign agent come first in contact with. So they are also known as external barriers, and through which our pathogens enter into our body. So they are like, the local wall what we have. ताजमहल है तो ताजमहल हम बाहर वॉल से देख सकते हैं, गेट से देख सकते हैं. So this gate and the walls which we are talking about, they are known as surface barriers. So once you cross, or once you climb this wall, or once you cross the gate, you can enter into the particular body, or let's say you can enter into the premises where you can see Taj Mahal. Well, don't consider disease to be Taj Mahal. Anyways, Yeah, so physical barrier. So physical barrier is nothing but when we talk about our skin, hair, cilia present in our nasal cavity, mucous lining, and muscular action. All these things are such via which there are chances where disease can enter. Okay, so now let's talk about first skin, that how skin prevents the entry of the pathogen. So this here on the right side, I'll just explain you the structure of the skin and then we will go through the explanation. So the first layer here you can see, it consists a hairy structure, right? They're known as hairs. We say it as an hair shaft. Then the layer on which they have been grown, that's the first layer, is known as stratum corneum. It is known as stratum corneum. You can also state it as an epidermis. That's the first layer of the skin what we have. Okay. Epi is first, dermis is skin. Now, these small structures here of yellow color where my cursor is been going, they are known as melanocytes. Okay. And here this coiled structure, eccrine, that is the sweat gland via which the sweat has been produced. Even here you can see it is also coiled structure. These are known as apocrine. They are also sweat glands. And then you have the adipose tissue. Adipose tissues, they are also known as fat tissues that we have already learned in our 9th standard. Then further, we have this sebaceous gland just below the, or just we can say that just near the hair. Then we have this pili, erector muscle pili. Then we have this yellow sort of connective tissue. Okay, if we have to differentiate them in the layer form, then this is the epidermis, this is the dermis layer, and this is the subcutaneous layer. Okay, so first question comes in my mind looking at this particular diagram is that what is the difference between eccrine glands and apocrine glands? So I'll just tell you, when you talk about eccrine glands, which you see here, basically they occur over most of our body and they open directly onto your surface. So you see they are opening onto your surface. Whereas these apocrine glands, they open into the hair follicle and lead to the surface of the skin. So both will generate sweat only. But here the only difference is that this will come directly to the skin and here this is being binded, or the hair follicle will be a support via which it will be coming out. Okay. Now the next question comes is, what does the sebaceous gland do? So sebaceous gland, if you remember, it's a small gland and it produces oil. Okay. So that is what is the simple function of sebaceous gland. Then we have erector pili muscle. Well, erector pili muscle, we know that it has been attached to the skin and the hair follicle as well. And it's the very tiny muscle. So hair follicle hota hai na, this is a follicle. So this pili has been attached to that at the end of the dermal tissue. And their function is कि जो hair हमारा खड़ा रहता है, it stands, right? So it helps the hair to stand on the end. Like for example, when you get goosebumps, so our hair will be standing, right? It is due to erector pili muscle. Well, I guess rest are commonly known, so it's fine if I don't explain. And if you have any doubt, please let me know. I'll give you the explanation of that as well. Yeah. Now coming back to the skin. So how the skin become barrier or behaves like a barrier to the entry of the pathogen. So the skin basically prevents the entry of the pathogen as the sweat produced by the sweat glands and the oil produced by the sebaceous, they are bacterial or let's say bactericidal and fungicidal. When you say bactericidal and fungicidal, it means that it has the properties to kill bacteria and fungus both. Next we have is the mucus lining. This mucus lining is found in the respiratory tract. We have again learned in the chapter 9 tissue of 9th standard, that is chapter 6 tissue, sorry. Okay, so this mucus lining is found in the respiratory tract and even in the digestive tract, urinary tract, reproductive tract, and all these tracts secretes the mucus. Mucus is a sticky little bit of substance. Okay, now what does the mucus do? Mucus basically traps the microbes and it makes them immobilize. So this is the common function of the mucus. Basically, it is present on the many lining tissues. Okay, and its normal other function is कि वो दूसरे organs को dry नहीं होने देता है, वो moisturize रखता है. And yes, talking about the pathogens, so dust, smoke, bacteria, कुछ भी है, तो it helps fight against it. Even you might be amazed to know that this mucus, it contains antibodies and bacteria killing enzymes which fights off the infection. So now the question arises that हमारी body में कितना mucus होगा? So हमारी body में there are a lot of mucus present. It's normally about our body generates 1 to 1.5 liter per day. Okay. Next we move down to physiological barrier. Now physiological barrier is nothing but the chemical secretions like lysosomes, skin secretions, saliva, earwax forms physiological barriers. So all these, if you see, they are little bit sticky. That means they don't allow these pathogens to move in wheresoever they are present. Otherwise हमारे ear में बहुत सारा infection हो जाता. Skin में भी शायद हो जाता अगर sweat glands नहीं होते तो. Fine. So let's talk about first of all lysosomes. So lysosome के पास भी mucus की तरह antibacterial enzyme है. And that has been present in the tears. So when you cry, बोलते हैं ना कि आँख का कचरा बाहर आ रहा है, right? So that is due to the antibacterial enzyme present in it. So when you cry, that comes out. Our nasal secretions are also there. Our saliva is also there, and most of the body fluids, they are such which consist this enzyme, and it lyses the bacteria. That is it. When you talk about the word lysis, it means that जो बैक्टीरिया का सेल होता है वो डिसइंटीग्रेट हो जाता है, वो रप्चर हो जाता है, टूट जाता है. So that is what the word lysis means. Okay. Now moving to skin infection or let's say skin secretion. Skin infection हमको कम क्यों होता है? Because जो हमारा स्वेट और सीबम होता है ना, इनके पास मैंने पहले भी बोला एंटीबैक्टीरियल एंड एंटी फंगल प्रॉपर्टीज होती है. इसीलिए ये बैक्टीरिया का ग्रोथ या फंगस हमारी स्किन पे नहीं होने देते हैं. अदरवाइज मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम लाइक इन द रेनी सीजन आवर स्किन इज मॉइस्चर्ड. देयर इज ओनली विंटर वेयर आवर स्किन फॉल्स ड्राई. Otherwise, in summer also, so if you talk about summer and monsoon, there are much possibilities of these diseases which will incur. मतलब skin disease ज़्यादा होते हैं उस time पे. Okay. Now moving to saliva. The saliva contains lysosome that lyses the bacteria. I hope you remember what is lysosome. Lysosome, it is a spherical vesicle, if you know, and it was also known as a suicidal bag, right? Because it contains such sort of enzymes which destroys the cell. So we say that it lyses the bacteria, that is, it disintegrates the cell of the bacteria. Now talking about the gut secretion. The gut secretion that is we have is gastric juice. Gastric juice contains dilute HCl. So this dilute HCl, when you talk about, it has a good pH which is able to kill the microbes which enters through the food. And earwax, yes, that sticky substance which you normally take it out with the help of the bird, or when you go to the doctor, he has specific instruments to take that out. So that earwax is present or it's been secreted in the external auditory canal, and it is bactericidal in nature. It repels the insects and it traps the dust. Okay, so likewise we understood that how the pathogens can be stopped by these physical barriers and physiological as well. Now let's talk about cellular and biochemical barriers. So cellular barriers, before going to the topic, I'll give you a brief introduction about it, which is quite not present over here. Okay, so you just need to listen it. See, cellular barriers, there are certain kinds of leukocytes. Leukocytes means WBCs, and leukocytes, if I talk about, has been given in your textbook, right? They are colorless cells and they circulate in the body fluid, and they are involved. I mean, if I talk about function of the leukocyte, then they are involved in counteracting foreign substances and diseases. And in a short way, they are known as WBCs. Okay. So this WBCs, and we have polymorphonuclear leukocytes as well, which are known as neutrophils, PMNL. And we have monocytes and natural killers, where here you can see that it's given as in a short form NK cells. There are also types of lymphocytes. These all acts as a microphage in the blood, and they help us to stop these pathogens with the help of phagocytosis, where here what does now phagocytosis mean and how the process of phagocytosis goes will be covered in the next video. So hereby I'm stopping this video. Thank you.